Imagine a single photon of light. Born from a flickering street lamp on a rain-slicked road, it shoots upward, pierces the clouds, and leaves Earth behind forever. It is now a ghost, a microscopic memory adrift in the infinite, freezing vacuum of deep space. We are taught that light is immortal. We take comfort in the idea that once a beam of light enters the void, it will travel endlessly. But the cosmos is not a passive, empty stage. It is a violently expanding, dying machine. And in the incomprehensible depths of the far future, the universe will slowly stretch this escaping spark across the expanding void until it fades into irrelevance. This is the terrifying story of how existence itself will eventually go permanently dark. The anatomy of a memory. To understand the terrifying fate of this endless traveler, we must first understand what a photon actually is. It is not a physical object. It has no mass, no solid shell. It is a ripple in the electromagnetic field, a self-sustaining vibration pushing forward through absolute nothingness. It requires no medium, sustained entirely by its own relentless momentum. It is a self-propagating ripple, born from the quantum realm, one of the purest expressions of energy in the universe, carrying with it a perfectly preserved memory of its origin. It carries the signature of the violent cosmic event that birthed it, a tiny fingerprint of existence. But the universe preserves no memory forever. When we look at the night sky, we are gazing into a graveyard of ancient light. We bathe in the dying breaths of suns that ceased to exist millions of years ago. Every sunrise in human history, every warm beam of sunlight across an ocean, every golden evening sky exists because ancient photons survived impossible journeys through the dark. Light is the universe's only archivist of cosmic history. But memories fade. The universe itself is slowly evolving toward exhaustion. As our photon leaves the local group of galaxies, it enters the true intergalactic void. Here, density drops to almost zero. There is nothing to hit, absorb, or scatter its fragile energy. It seems like a clear path into eternity. But the void hides a terrifying secret. The space between galaxies is growing, the silent monster of expansion. This is the unseen leviathan of the cosmos, dark energy, an invisible pressure fundamentally tearing reality apart. As the photon travels the abyss between galactic clusters, the fabric of space itself expands. Imagine an ant walking across a stretching rubber band. The ant moves at a constant speed, but the distance it has to cover constantly increases. Worse, the stretching affects the ant itself. As the universe expands, the photon's wavelength stretches with it, steadily reducing its energy over time. Its frequency drops. If it was born as a harsh, high-energy violet beam, cosmic expansion slowly drags it downward through the visible spectrum into blue, then yellow, then finally a deep, fading red. This phenomenon is known as cosmic redshift. The photon never slows down. It cannot. But with every passing billion years, it loses more and more of its energy to the expanding universe, the fading horizons of reality. This relentless expansion creates a horrifying reality. There are distant galaxies burning brilliantly, whose light we will never see. Because the expansion of space can outpace light itself over enormous distances, their photons can never bridge the gap. They are permanently locked behind a cosmic event horizon. Every second, entire galaxies slip past this invisible boundary, vanishing forever. The observable universe is slowly fragmenting into isolated islands of light, drifting into permanent blackness. Our fleeing photon will eventually cross one of these horizons. To a future observer in a distant galaxy, our Milky Way will redden, dim, and blink out of existence. We will be erased from their sky, and they from ours. Generations born in the far future will see absolutely nothing but their local stars. They will believe the universe is small and empty, with no evidence that other galaxies ever existed. All the grand structures of the cosmos, the swirling spiral arms of Andromeda, the glittering clusters of Virgo will be gone. The larger history of the cosmos will vanish from observation. They will live in a state of enforced cosmic amnesia. completely unaware of the magnificent, violent universe that preceded them. No telescope, no matter how powerful, will ever pierce this veil of dark space. The light carrying the truth will have been stretched into nothingness, the oldest light in the abyss. But what happens to light that never hits a planet, a star, or a black hole? Can it travel forever in this expanding void? To answer this, we look at the oldest light in existence, the cosmic microwave background. 380,000 years after the Big Bang, the universe was a blinding fog of plasma. Every region of space blazed with trapped radiation. When it cooled enough to clear, that initial burst was released everywhere at once. It has been traveling for 14 billion years, passing through your body right now. But you cannot see it. It is the oldest surviving light in the observable universe, a remnant of the moment space itself was forged. Yet, even this primordial echo is not safe. As it travels, it is continuously bled of its vitality. Cosmic expansion has stretched this ancient light by a factor of 1,000, completely out of the visible spectrum. What was once a blinding, white-hot symphony of creation is now a faint, freezing whisper, dying a slow, invisible death in the expanding dark. This is the inevitable fate of all light. Black holes and the degenerate era. Fast forward 1 trillion years. The era of star formation has ended. Massive blue giants have detonated, and the last red dwarfs slowly burn their remaining hydrogen, shedding a dim glow over dead worlds. Over trillions of years, these final stars will sputter and collapse into white dwarfs, embers taking quadrillions of years to cool into frozen, black carbon. Eventually, the sky itself loses structure. No stars, no galaxies, only a cold, directionless expanse without landmarks or light. The only light left will be ancient photons flying blindly through the void, stretched into radio waves carrying almost zero energy. The universe will be populated only by dead things, black dwarfs, frozen planets, and the ultimate apex predators, black holes. Black holes are among the few places where a photon's journey can abruptly end. If our surviving spark crosses an event horizon, its end this journey is abruptly over. It falls into the singularity, its memory locked away permanently. But even black holes are not eternal. Stephen Hawking proved they slowly leak energy through Hawking radiation, emitting a microscopic trickle of photons. A Google years from now, the last supermassive black hole will finally evaporate in a weak, silent flash. These will be the final photons ever created, the dying breaths of the monsters that ate the universe. Eventually, even the black holes disappear, and for the first time since the birth of the cosmos, the universe enters an age with almost no new light at all, the dark era, when light loses meaning. And then, the dark era begins. No stars, no planets, no black holes. Only an infinitely vast, exponentially expanding void, populated by a sparse mist of decaying particles and the fading ghosts of light. What happens to our photon now? It cannot stop. But the space around it has expanded to a monstrous scale. Its wavelength is no longer measured in miles, but in light years. It is a single wave of energy stretched across dead galactic clusters. Its energy is so unimaginably low, it is virtually indistinguishable from nothingness. Interaction requires energy. And as expansion drains the photon closer and closer toward absolute emptiness, its ability to influence anything at all begins to disappear. It becomes impossible to absorb, reflect, or measure. It is a ghost of a ghost. The universe does not destroy light. It stretches it until it loses meaning. The memory of a brilliant supernova is never technically erased. It is diluted to the point of non-existence, a whisper spread across an ocean of absolute silence. Eventually, the expansion of space pushes the photon's wavelength to unimaginable scales. Its energy becomes so diluted that meaningful interaction with the universe grows effectively impossible. It is no longer light in any practical sense, only a fading residue of information stretched thin across an aging cosmos. The final victory of entropy. The universe will have effectively erased the light, not by violently crushing it, but by abandoning it. This is the inescapable heat death of the universe. Entropy achieves its flawless victory. Everything that ever was will be reduced to a perfectly uniform, freezing, eternal expanse of nothing. Without energy to transfer, without matter to interact, without light to travel, the very concept of time loses its anchor. 1 trillion years and a single millisecond will become entirely indistinguishable, because there will be absolutely no events left to separate them. The universe will not end in fire or collapse. It will simply exhaust itself. The great cosmic clockwork, having wound down over octillions of centuries, will finally, silently stop. There will be no one left to mourn the stars, no consciousness to witness the final dimming. The story of light, which began in the violent birth cries of the cosmos, concludes in perfect, uninterrupted silence. An eternal night with no dawn, no observers, and no memory of yesterday. Even the last surviving light in the universe will fade into absolute meaninglessness, slipping quietly into the unending oblivion, leaving the universe so empty, so endlessly stretched apart, that even light itself can no longer remember where it came from.